A very good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you. And thank you so much for joining us on our segment today as we celebrate Women's Month. Our theme for Women's Month is Nurturing the Future. And our very first guests for this month in the FPI studio is Amanda John and Olwethu Masanabo. Thank you very much for making time for us. And we are going to talk about the Lean In Circle today. So what is the Lean In Circle? Well, if you want to know more, please lean in. So Amanda, for starters, tell me a little bit more about yourself.
So Amanda John, originally from the Eastern Cape. I've been in Joburg for a good 13, 14 years now. I currently work at Old Mutual. I do run my own side hustles. I think that's the aim thing to do. And I think the one thing I can probably share with the listeners and viewers is probably a lot of what I do is definitely sitting very close to the financial planning space, financial advisory space, and financial literacy space. So I think that's me.
And a shout out from my side to say thank you to Amanda. She's been one of our board members and she's very involved in our consumer education initiatives. So quite an active member of the FPI. Thank you. Olwethu, tell us more about you.
Okay, name is Olwethu Masanabo. Originally, my surname is Mbekela. Also from the Eastern Cape. We actually know each other from school.
Nice.
Back in the day. So also from the Eastern Cape, but I've been in Gauteng for about 22 years now.
Sure.
Yeah, it's been here for about 22 years now. And so I'm basically a Gautenga now.
Okay.
I think I'm a Gauteng. And I am a member of the FPR.
Yes, you are.
And have been so. It's 10 years this year, actually.
Yes.
Have been so for 10 years now. And I've recently embarked on an entrepreneurial journey.
Okay.
So I've started my own company called Pragmatic Financial Solutions.
Nice.
And I am about all things personal finance. Yes. So financial planning, financial education, financial coaching, financial training, mentorship, everything that you want to mention in the personal finance space. And I love this industry. I think I'm very dedicated to it.
You are, and like I said, I've had the privilege to work with both of the extremely competent two ladies sitting next to me. And you know what? It's such a privilege to work with you. You're currently a board member of the FPI as well. She's also the incoming chair of our diversity and inclusion committee that we have. So very involved in individuals that we have. And which is why I'm very excited to let you know more about the Lean In Circle. So Amanda, my understanding is that the Lean In Circle is your brainchild. And I've been following it since your early days that you started, I think, in 2020 or 2021, if I recall correctly.
Almost 3 years now.
Yes, almost 3 years old. and I've been following Lean In Circle for some time. And thank you very much for the opportunities that FPI has had to present at Lean In Circle. The energy at these sessions, let me tell you, is magnificent. I remember we did the vision board the 1 year, and I still have it. And it's just a environment of where you can be who you are, and you can just have discussions that's real for women in financial planning. So if you could tell me a little bit more about the Lean In Circle and why you started it, when you started it, tell me more.
Cool.
Tell the audience more.
So audience, Didi and I started Lean In almost 3 years ago.
Who's Didi? I know who she is, but they don't know who she is.
Didi is probably a bit of everything else that we are. She's just as passionate about the industry. She currently works at Astute. She's a bit closer actually to the digital space. Perhaps that's probably one differentiator that she has from us. She's also serving on one of the committees of the FPI. She has been a member of the FPI. She is a certified financial planner. She is very passionate about seeing young women in financial planning actually grow. And I think to your theme around nurturing, young people or women within, especially in celebration of this Women's Month, I think she's definitely all about that. I hope I've done her justice.
You have, and I can concur. She's very involved at the FPI as well. Thank you, Didi. Special shout out to you.
Yeah. So Didi and I started the Lean In Circle for Women in Financial Planning I think for a few reasons that make sense when you really listen to the story.
Yeah.
I think more than anything, we do feel there aren't enough of us, meaning young women like us. We might not be as young as others, but we feel we want to become the voice of the industry. We want to become the voice of the profession. We want to be more visible so that younger women coming up within the financial planning profession space can relate to people like us. They can know that there's so many different careers that they can have within the profession itself. They can know who to lean in on, because I think many of us probably never really had that 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's really the purpose of the circle, to ensure that more people who feel the way we felt 10, 15 years ago don't feel like that. Hence, things like mentorship has started to become quite critical, because we're finding a lot of the organizations we're starting to partner with are saying we've been struggling to actually get the young people. We've been struggling to find women who can also speak on podiums. We've been struggling to find women who are passionate about financial planning, but in many different ways, and are doing different pieces of work. And I think if you think back to all of the different speakers we've had on a monthly basis for almost 3 years, it's literally anybody and anybody. Whether you are white, you black, you male, you female, you are a financial planner, you specialize in investments. Literally, we've had everybody, because we want to create a platform where our voices can come together and we can really ensure that we're taking not just financial planning. I think what has brought the members currently of Lean In, yes, it is financial planning, because I think it was important we identify something that brings us together. But it doesn't mean all of the people they are financial planners. It means they might have studied financial planning. They might have ended up working in a financial planning environment, but maybe they are an accountant. We've got asset managers, we've got accountants, we've got digital people, we've got financial planners, we've got entrepreneurs, we've got coaches, we've got financial literacy facilities. We literally have everything. But what brings us together is the conversation of financial planning. And that was exactly the reason to say, we want to be able to bring in all of those different little pieces and dots and puzzles. Anybody who's sitting anywhere, who thinks something about financial planning can feel like they fit in, and they can feel like they can actually extend themselves to the Lean In circle. Chances are at some point they're going to find what it is that they're looking for. I think we currently have probably close to 80 members we engage with, but on our WhatsApp group we have about almost 50.
Is it
I think it's 46 now. I think we're sitting on about 46 members on WhatsApp.
Okay.
Like, listen, it is busy every day. Every day there's something, and it's so many different things. For somebody else, it might be a practicing financial planner who says, guys, hey, I met this client. This is the kind of thing that happened. How would you deal with this? So I can tell you now, it's not even just about like our monthly sessions that we have on an ongoing basis. There's always some kind of an engagement. And I think people feeling empowered, people learning from each other, people feeling like they are being included, people feeling like they are being heard, people feeling like they are being seen. And that's exactly what we want, so that it can also be a platform that teaches people to be empowered, therefore helps people to be more confident.
I must say, and I know I've said this before, but I have been attending some of the sessions, and the energy is just amazing. And I just want to highlight something. So yes, diversity is very important, but what's more important for me is inclusion. And I can confirm I've seen a broad range of different people at the sessions before, and the conversations is just so energetic. You even forgot that you're there in high heels that maybe hurt your feet for the day. I remember when we all came back from being locked in during lockdown. We all had to get used to wearing those high heels to these functions again. But we had so much fun, so much conversations. And the energy is just really great. And the inclusivity and including a group of people with diverse mindset, different ideas. There's no such thing as a bad idea. So I feel you, I hear you, and there is a bigger need for what just Lean In Circle, what you're looking at. There's various groups, not just Lean In. We will have more interviews, but for now we're focusing on Lean In. So thank you for giving us the background. Now, Olwethu, I see something brilliant there. What is that, if I may?
Yes,
it reminds me a little bit of Picasso's art. I did study art.
True, actually.
Yeah,
I think we did that in grade 8 as well.
Yes, so it's a little bit of Picasso's art. But if you zoom in, this is a beautiful Lean In Circle Women in Financial Planning mentorship book, and it's the first time I see it. So my
You're the first person ever
to touch this book. It's fantastic, and what an honor in that case then to actually hold the book. And I really want to say well done on this. I know each of yours heart. I know where your heart is. And I know your true intentions of Lean In Circle and just really where you want to go. So if you could tell me a little bit more about this book, I would appreciate it. Who can join the mentorship program?
So let me give you the background of the mentorship program that we have. So we currently, as Lean In Circle Women in Financial Planning, we're running a mentorship program in partnership with UJ. So that's the University of Johannesburg. So these are students that are doing their honors degree in financial planning.
Okay.
And
become honors,
become honors. So we thought that they needed so outside of the classroom education, they also needed the exposure.
Absolutely,
into the work. Also because we find that a lot of them enter the industry and then exit. So before they actually finish, so that they can make a more informed decision, we thought we needed to give them the exposure. The exposure to what exactly it is, what it means to work in the industry, and not only as a financial planner, but like Amanda has said, as various things, as an investment specialist, as an asset manager in an asset management firm, as a compliance. So we're actually discussing that the only role we don't have currently is the compliance officer role. So next time, members in our Lean In Circle, we don't have a compliance officer, and so we are on a lookout for a compliance officer.
I said there's somebody.
You said there's somebody. Okay, great. So that is just to give. So what we did is we paired up the students from UJ with the Lean In Circle professionals, so the members of the Lean In Circle, and then each of them have got a mentee. Sorry, they've got a mentee. They're the mentors. They've got a mentee that will shadow them at work. But they will also do other activities together. So that's where the workbook comes in. Is that there's certain things that they need to be observing in the mentorship program, but then there's certain things that the mentor needs to assist the mentee with. For instance, so like we've got an activity where they need to help them with a professional CV, to construct a professional CV.
Excellent.
And we're also going to have a session where we're going to have professionals who do CVs that are going to be there. That's for our end of year session with the mentees to actually help them to make sure that they've got a proper CV that they can send out. So that's what the program is about. We are being sponsored by BDT, Old Mutual Black Distribution Trust. They were kind enough to sponsor this program. And
wait for it, Pragmatic Financial Solutions crafted this.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Olwethu's baby.
So this workbook is my baby.
I can see that the way that she holds the workbook.
She's like,
I must say you completely blow me away. I did not expect to see this today in the interview, and you are filling a very real gap that we have, and that's the mentor/mentee role in terms of what is real out there. You have your academic, we came through the academic journey. And I agree with you. There wasn't that mentor. You had to just being a mommy, all of those roles at the same time. You had to come through this without something like this. So I really want to compliment you for nurturing the future. And with that introduction to nurturing the future, I'm going to ask you, before we go into how you become a member of Lean In Circle, what does it mean for you, Amanda, when I say nurturing the future as a female? What does it mean to you?
So before I think of others, which that's always me, let me think of myself. And when I think of nurturing the future, does it mean because someone else may be looking at me thinking, she's nicely established in the profession, in the industry, or whatever it is, that I don't need nurturing? I would say absolutely
can't
not.
pour from an empty
Because
cup.
exactly.
Yes.
I think for me, that's exactly what it means. That
Love it.
firstly, we need to also have the ability to nurture, firstly, yourself, myself. We need to have the ability to nurture each other, which I'd like to strongly believe that that's exactly why Lean In is there.
Yep.
And I think as an extension of that, it's to be open to nurturing others, right? Another thing, the mentorship program, this is Lean In Circle for Women in Financial Planning. But we've got 4 guys that are actually mentees.
Nice.
Again, to your point
Nice.
around inclusion,
That's it.
yes, it had to start with something that's within reach for us, something that's close to our hearts as well, something we're not seeing too much of, but it's quite inclusive. And we're like, let's not limit this and keep the guys out. We want the young guys. And a lot of our pictures at the launch, actually, like the guys were like, I'm ready to speak. And we were like, don't take over. But I think for me, that's what nurturing the future is about. It's about extending that grace of the profession, the grace of our knowledge, the grace of our skills, the grace of our connections to everybody else that wants to be nurtured. Because if you don't want to be nurtured, it's whatever you do, it's actually not going to work. So I think for me personally, that's what it means when I look at myself, when I look at the Lean In Circle, when I look at the industry, the profession, but also then the young people who are becoming the future.
Awesome answer. Thank you
Can I
very
add to
much.
that?
You're welcome. I'm going to ask you, what is your...
Okay.
Let's ask, so Olwethu, if I say to you, nurturing the future, what does that mean to you?
So for me, I see women as mothers, right? We're mothers. And Lean In Circle is pretty much a circle of mummies, if we can put it that way.
And I can agree.
So that's why we didn't want to exclude males. We specifically said we're not excluding males on the students because we're still their mothers.
Yes.
We're still their mothers, and they
awesome.
still need to be nurtured. And the whole thing of focusing on starting leading women in financial planning was not to exclude men.
From the beginning.
Yes. No, that was never the reason. So we still need to nurture them. They're still our babies.
Yes.
Yeah. And I also think, like Michelle Obama said, the only way that you can look after, or the only way you can make a community, and I'm paraphrasing very badly, but it's paraphrasing. But she says, if you exclude women, then the community doesn't grow.
Yeah.
And that's a very bad paraphrase of what she said. And I put it in our first that quote. I put it in our first Lean In Scoop. Now I can't even remember how it goes. But basically that's what she was saying, that the only way any community can grow is if you include the women.
And I guess vice versa is also true. Any community cannot grow if you exclude men.
Absolutely.
And that's the message for today. It's diversity, it's inclusion. Historically, it is true that, if we look at the growth of women in financial planning, if we look at FPI's database and our financial planners, we are only at about 32% female versus male. But I must say, I'm very, very excited about the young black female coming through, because if we see at how good she's doing in the exam, we can see she's doing very good at the universities, and this includes everybody, but particularly the young black female I see is coming through very strong. So I am super excited about the future, nurturing the future in financial planning and growing the financial planning industry with help, or the profession. Let's grow the profession with help, by movements like the Lean In Circle. And I know what you are doing here is critically important to the profession. It will help grow the profession, but more so, if you look at the FPI's vision, which is professional financial planning and advice for all, it's about the consumer. It's about how do we get to the consumer to help them with their financial planning need. And you do that by having very strong people in financial planning. Now,
And I think by having strong presence as well, Lelane, because I was actually speaking to Moraro this morning. I know the committee is going to be like, you did what without us? Whatever. But I mean, yes, we launched in Joburg. It's been 2.5 years since we've been running in Joburg.
yes.
But a couple of months ago, I think March, we launched in East London.
Fantastic.
And I think
Your
we've got
hometown.
5 ladies.
Close,
Well,
close,
yeah,
to
yeah.
yes, our home province.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
but close to your hometown.
Yeah.
All right.
as well, yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think we've got 5 ladies in East London who are members of the Lelane Circle.
That's
Only one in
fantastic.
Cape Town, but mostly around
But you're
Joburg.
growing. You're
And
growing.
the aim was also every Women's Month, we launch a footprint, if I can put it like that, at the next province. We're not always going to be ready for that, and hence the conversations are starting with other people to help them get ready to kind of take ownership of that particular footprint.
And
And,
that's
I
what
think
the Lelane
it's also
Circles, if you
about
look
the
at the
consumer.
concept.
Yeah.
Yes, and also
Yeah.
that whole conversation you were starting around the consumer, because
That's
once we
it.
start having presence
Yeah.
like that, then people are aware of
That's
the
it.
whole conversation around financial planning. You know, so
Sure, all I can say is watch this space. I am super excited about what they are getting right. The energy is fantastic. The hearts are in the right place. And you need to know that FPI is here to support you. Like I've said from the beginning, we are here to support. And then in closing, how do we become part of the Lelane Circle? What do we do to the listeners and to the audience? How do we become part?
inbox us.
That's
To
really
that though, that's literally how we've grown. And I'm saying that because that is literally how Lelane has grown. I remember I said to Didi, you know what, let's reach like to 5 people each that we know. And that's exactly what we did almost 3 years ago. To say, listen, we're starting this thing, please join us, let's do this together. And everyone was like, absolutely, you don't have to ask me twice, I'm on board.
Good.
And from there we ensured that we start giving Lelane presence on LinkedIn. And I guarantee you, most people, 80 to 90%, have joined by saying, when did this start? How am I being left out? Why didn't I know? Because because the aim is not to get out there and market Lelane, but it's to keep the conversation going so that the more people who see it, they can almost feel like, that's what I've actually been looking for. That's actually what I've been looking for. And literally it's just through people inboxing us, mostly on LinkedIn, because that is the only social media platform where we've got presence. And we want to keep it like that for now. I think at the end of the day, we are in a professional, space. And so anyone else who wants to reach out, who wants to lean in, can inbox us on LinkedIn.
So we do have a Lean In Circle Women in Financial Planning page on LinkedIn. So they don't have to do it for individuals. They don't have to find Amanda or find me. They can just find Lean In Circle Women in Financial Planning, and they'll be able to send a message. And then what we then do is we let them come and visit us for 3 sessions. And then after the 3 sessions, they can then decide if they want to become members or not. And we do have paying members.
So half of our group
is paying members. So we don't
ask
put
for it.
They ask for it.
I'll never forget
They ask for it
at an event. They're like, oh, why is nobody telling us when are we going to pay for this? We're like,
start next month. So we don't put them under pressure to join immediately. Visit us for 3 sessions. See if you like it or if you don't. But I mean, a lot of them have liked it. Everybody has liked it. And they've all joined.
And I must say, I can confirm that Lelane Circle is a registered non-profit organization, or in short, NPO. So please support the cause. Please support what they are doing. Because as we grow the profession, we need more support of NPOs like Lelane Circle. And thank you very much for the wonderful conversations, so they can link in with Lean In via LinkedIn. And I got that right.
You did.
So as we lean into the close, I want to say thank you so much for your time. I know you had to drive all the way to the FPI, but you're always welcome here, and thank you for making the time to come and chat to the audience today about Lelane Circle and the fantastic work that Amanda, Didi, and Olwethu is doing with the Lelane Circle. And if I haven't mentioned everybody, I just want to acknowledge the 2 beautiful ladies next to me for starters. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.